Okay. Today, I'm over 40 years old. I've never been married. I don't have any children. I have been single for more than 15 years, and I haven't even dated very much in the last 15 years. And I'm absolutely not bitter about it. I'm not upset about it. I'm not angry about it. I have no regrets. And the reason is because it happened the way it happened, not because I was rebelling, not because I wanted to go against someone else's will. It's just in every moment, I was making the best decision I could for myself. And this is what it transpired into. I always wanted to get married. I always wanted to have a husband and children. In fact, I thought I'd get married relatively early. I thought I'd get married in my 20s, which is, of course, ridiculous. But the life has shown me otherwise. I was lucky and was presented a lot of options and choices, and I was able um, to figure out that men are a lot more selfish than women. And I'm talking, of course, in general terms, what I witnessed, what was going on in society then, and that's what's still going on. Um, I figured out that men were selfish and mostly marry a good deal. And men didn't even seem to um, want to marry even a fair deal because unless it's a good deal, men just date. And I figured out also that you cannot rely on another human being, and not because someone told me that. It's because my family has has been more of an enemy um, for me, and also my early relationships also proven to be and proven to be unreliable. And thank God this thing happened to me early in life because I learned the lessons. I'm not saying those lessons were easy, and especially with the family, it affected me for many years and unfortunately decades. Um, but at least I didn't make the same mistakes in my own family. And even still, then I didn't rebel. I just paused a little bit. Um, Paused in the sense that I realized that unless I'm stable in life and making a decision from a place where I feel like I've got some ground. It doesn't even have to be, didn't even have to be a solid ground, but at least um, some kind of a ground. It's just you cannot trust a human being, and at that time, men that were around me, I was modeling in my early 20s, so a lot of men were focused on my appearance, and sometimes was gross, quite honestly. And men seemed to just want to close the deal with me with such passion and just tell me a whole bunch of nonsense. But not necessarily everybody. And I'm not saying all men are terrible. And I'm just describing my experience. I had about probably, see, it really depends how you look at it, probably 3 or 4 long term relationships. And those men were, I would say, uh, controlling and had a little bit of a maybe overbearing, maybe aggressive tendencies. And that was early on. I was young. They were young. But imagine if we ever got married. If even back then I could uh, I was able to detect those things. For me, I understand that I'm on this planet a soul spirit, having a material experience. Everybody is on the spiritual path, whether we're aware aware of it or not. I am happen to be aware of it. uh, for me is important that a man, not necessarily on an identical spiritual path, but at least he's aware. So this is important for me. Also for me, it's important that I am compatible with a man on the physical, material level, on the emotional depth, and intellectually we have to be compatible in these three levels. This is at minimum. Plus he has to treat me well, but not just well, but really really well. And I have never met anybody who matched me on all these levels. The closest man ever gotten to, he was compatible with me uh, on intellectual and emotional level, and he was more or less close in age to me. Uh, but I was so unattracted to him on a physical level that a relationship would not be possible. And one or the other, all of these things are important. I just did not want to settle down. And I have zero regrets about it because it would have been a divorce. It would have been a divorce with unhappy children if I don't even know how it would be possible to even make children when I was so unattractive physically to him. Also, I before moving to the United States, I lived in Canada for many years. So most of my dating happened in Canada. I was also an immigrant in Canada. And the immigrant communities, if you know anything about it, are very materially focused because you have to be, and no, I shouldn't justify it. Um, being materially focused is not a problem, but putting it ahead of spiritual development or basing your decision purely on material things are no good. And this immigrant communities, there's a lot of a lot more opportunities to be abusive towards a woman. It's it's a lot more normalized, unfair relationships with older men and younger women, and women coming from countries where this is normal back there and immigrating to Canada, and also finding it in the same in a, if they're evolving in the same community, finding the same circumstances. So those things and those people, I was circulating at least at first a lot, and I really did not like it. Um, I give you an example that already happened a little bit later, but still, a person was from one of the immigrant communities, extremely successful, 10 years older than me. We're on a date, and he's 10 years older than me. I'm a younger woman over him. I was in my late 20s. And he's telling me on a date that he's very refreshed and happy that he is on a date with somebody as mature as I am. And he thinks that he probably should have dated um, women older, meaning my age is older for him. I'm a younger woman. What do you mean older? That was that was a very revealing and telling sentence that he said to me. I didn't want to go on a second date with him after that, because it was not only just that sentence. It's just a lot of things that he's done. It was gross. It was gross. It was obviously with somebody who took advantage um, of his good social standing, and took advantage in probably younger women. it seemed to me that way. Anyhow, I said no to a second date, and for anybody looking from the outside, I why would I would like why would I why would I do such thing? I was already in my late 20s, but there's been millions examples, not a millions, but hundreds, hundreds of examples like this. So you can never really tell those things unless you're really on a date and share some kind of a moment where the person shows you who they are. But for outside people didn't know. I rejected so many men, and I know I made so many enemies like that. um i I had a lot of trouble in my family, and of course, had I gotten married in my 20s, I was like, it would be ridiculous. It's way too early to get married in your early 20s. But what I'm trying to say is, it would have been my life would have been much easier. I struggled a lot without support, and not only support, it was just a bunch of bad things coming from my family. Plus, I had so many people harass me. Of course, a man by my side would have made my life so much easier. But I chose to stay true to who I am. I was rejecting opportunities that I had for all the right reasons. I I haven't met a good match at a right time. I was asking the universe uh, for a mate and for a family of my own, but I always conditioned it. I'd always um, and ask and condition it. I'd like it only if it's a good for me, for my path in a from a bigger perspective. If it's a right time, it was never I want it now, I demand it now, but I did long for it. But for me, I've done a lot of things on my own. I was never afraid to do things on my own, and that is a little bit maybe the reason why it is. I shouldn't say easier, but I just compare with the girlfriends, let's say, that I had at the time, who did go for a relation to settle down, and I will say down. And I was never afraid to do things on my own. From young age, I traveled on my own. Of course, I went to restaurants on my own. I own homes on my own. I've done a lot of things on my own. I opened businesses fearlessly, all without support, all on my own. And I don't know, there was some kind of thrill about it, even though I wanted to have a party. But at the same time, I don't know, this doing these things on my own also was was exciting. But what comes to children? Yes, I love children. I wanted to have children, but the thing is, there's nothing to regret. So like I had children and somebody took them away. Now I don't have them, and I regret not having them. It's ridiculous. I There are children out there. You can have children after 40. There's all kinds of way you can have children, and still you can have a natural way. And there's so many children who don't have family, who would love a loving person in their life. Um, so no, absolutely no, no regrets. And what could have done different? I just did all the right thing. Every moment in my life, I just tried to do better. I wanted to, I wanted to heal myself from all the family traumas. I wanted to be, I thought if I am ever to be a mother or a wife, I wanted to be a healthy one. I don't want to trauma, to burden my children with it. I wanted to be free of it. I took care of myself physically, emotionally. I tried I tried my best, and I lived in a very full life. I will tell you that people with families, husbands, didn't live a life as full as I have lived my life. I've done so many things, and I immigrated on my own. from Canada to the United States. And just if I take only Canada alone, I've done so many things. I don't know. You could never accuse me of not living my life to the fullest because I did not have a husband or a boyfriend. And even with all of those things, still I had so many phases that I stayed at home by myself and um, uh, going through a period of, let's call it isolation or something like that. So no, absolutely no regrets. And the manosphere, why the manosphere presents women over 40 is bitter and miserable without if they don't have husband and or children. It's for younger women. It's to present because you're not gonna tell me that I'm happy. I know how I feel. Um, it's for younger women to let's say present my situation as negative, so you would settle down basically. And also if they telling you that when you're older, men like younger women grows, take those men away from me. Thank God I didn't settle for a guy like that in my 20s. Gross. And no, there's still men around you. Still ask out if this is what you want. uh, you can have it. And this is what I'm saying. The 40 years old, it's not a sentence. People meet their partners in their 50s, 60s. It really doesn't matter. Um, and children, so many people, especially in the last decade, as you mature and people around you mature, you see people for who they are so much. It's so much more apparent to you. People don't have always have children for the right reasons. A lot of the times is to make the other person commit, to secure money. People don't always have children for the right reasons, and not necessarily. In my family, my older brother was killed. He was extremely unhappy in our family. For me, I had like it's horrible. This video is not about that. Um, so you have to do what is right in the moment, and it really doesn't matter what it transpired into in the long term. And if you're a woman and I think in your 30s, you start thinking about it a lot because you already feel a little bit more rushed now, but then you know that you still have more time. So if you are thinking, will I regret? There is nothing to regret as long as you're making a right um, decision in a moment. In the long term, it does not matter. It cannot be wrong or right in a moment, cannot be wrong in the long term. If you like this video, please like it, share, and subscribe for more.